Hey folks, welcome back to LeafGreen vs. Blue. We're here in the Silph Corporation, and we are taking on two bosses today. And both of these bosses are remixes of bosses that we have already fought. First up is the Rival, and then we have Giovanni later. So, Rival leads with Pidgeot. If you don't know how to deal with this thing by now, I don't know what to tell you. The major difference between the two versions for Pidgeot is that in Gen 3 it has Feather Dance, which drastically cuts your attack, and in Gen 1 it has Sand Attack, which slightly lowers your accuracy. If you're bringing a Rock type to deal with Pidgeot, it could potentially be annoying to have your attack stat cut, but Electric types and Ice types don't care. And the Sand Attack, it's a minor annoyance that you've been dealing with all game, so nothing too new there. Next up is Gyarados. Gyarados, as always, very intimidating, very powerful. The thing to really keep in mind about Gyarados is that it does have Dragon Rage, so if you have Pokemon with lower HP stats, like say Walter, Dragon Rage could probably two-shot it. It also has Twister in Gen 3. If you're bringing Dratini or Dragonair, I think there's only dragons you can actually bring. Not much to worry about there. Just don't bring Dratini or Dragonair against Gyarados specifically. Gen 1, it does have Hydro Pump, and even though Special Attack is not its forte, it's a powerful move, so be on the lookout. Execute. Execute's an interesting case here, because 3/4 of the moveset is basically identical between the two versions, but in Gen 3, it actually has a direct damaging move. In both versions, it has Hypnosis, Dunsmore, and Leech Seed, which is really annoying. Could either paralyze you, put it to sleep, and then Leech Seed you for gradual damage. But only in Gen 3 does it have Confusion, which actually deals damage. Gen 1 has Reflect. So, I guess the Gen 1 strategy was to just be really tedious and annoying. You can just switch out. Whereas in Gen 1, or Gen 3, it's actually going to cause some damage. Not a whole lot, it is unevolved, but it's annoying-ish. Anyway, Dux makes short work of it. Very, very short work of it. Once we actually got an attack in there. There's that Reflect. So the thing to remember about Reflect is that it does last after Execute is gone. Bulbapedia is wrong. Bulbapedia doesn't say that it has Poison Powder. How about that? Anyway, yeah, Reflect does last after Execute is gone. It lasts, I think, 5 turns, so bear that in mind. Anywho, next up is Alakazam. Alakazam, another kind of weird case here, because in Gen 3, its only direct damaging move is Future Sight. So it can't actually cause damage in one turn. It has to wait 2 turns for the Future Sight attack to actually hit. So that's a problem for Alakazam if it wants to do a lot of damage. Also, as I was looking at Bulbapedia, I learned that Future Sight has gotten stronger over the generations. It's now, I think, 120 base power in Gen 6. This is Gen 3, it's only 80 base power. Not a whole lot to worry about. So, as always, the best way to take care of an Alakazam is probably physical moves. In Gen 3 it does have Calm Mind, which can raise its special defense. So physical moves will prey on its low physical defense, in all cases. And finally, Charizard. Oh, and there's that Future Sight. Who even cares? So Charizard, Gen 3, it has Flamethrower, which is my favorite Fire-type move, honestly. It's super strong, and it's boosted by Stab. So just be careful of that. Don't bring in a Grass type. Don't bring in an Ice type. Not good ideas. Gen 1, it only has Ember, which it's had since almost the beginning, basically. So that's the scary thing in Gen 3. But Kingsley doesn't care. Yeah, no problem there. And then in Gen 1, probably the most dangerous thing it has in Gen 1 is Slash. I believe I've talked elsewhere about the absurd critical hit ratio in Gen 1 and how Slash basically will always crit. So if you are worried about that, maybe bring in a Graveler or an Onix or some rock type with high physical defense that could do quadruple effective moves on it. Or just, bring in a water type and kill it. So not a whole lot to worry about there. I always found this rival fight really hard when I was a kid, but now that I'm not as bad at video games, I find it a little bit less stressful. Anyway, the other boss fight that we have today is our second match against Giovanni. And like Blue, or the rival rather, his team is a remix, slight addition to what he had before. Leads with Nidorino, almost identical between versions. It has Poison Point in Gen 3, so watch out for that. Maybe avoid making direct contact if possible. And then, other than that, the only moveset difference has Helping Hand in Gen 3 versus Focus Energy in Gen 1. And the amazing thing is, they're both absolutely useless. Gen 3, Helping Hand, that's a doubles move. It does not do anything in singles because it boosts the power of an ally's attack. So I don't think it'll ever use it for one thing. And it's just, there's nothing to worry about there. And then in Gen 1, Focus Energy, because it was programmed wrong, actually decreases the probability of a critical hit rather than increases it. So it's actually actively hampering Nidorino rather than you. So it's useless versus actively detrimental to him between the two versions. And his only attacks are Horn Attack, Poison Sting, and Fury Attack. Really not powerful moves. Moves that you've been seeing all game long. You can see it was a little bit beefy, so I got to use a lot of Payday. That means I get a lot of money. Hooray. Nidoqueen here. It's beefy, it's fully evolved, it has good defenses-ish, but its moveset, again, is pretty lousy. Its strongest move is really Body Slam, and that's not a stab move, and Drew is pretty defensively oriented. Otherwise, it has Double Kick if you're using a normal type, or a rock type, I guess. And Poison Sting. So, really, not a whole lot that can do a lot to you. I guess if you're using a rock type to resist the Body Slam, then Double Kick in Gen 3 only, by BT dubs, could be annoying, but it just doesn't have a whole lot to dish out. Kangaskhan, on the other hand, you could be reasonably worried about. It does have Mega Punch in Gen 3, and Mega Punch is a stab move, and Kangaskhan ain't the weakest in regards to physical attack, so that's something you'll be aware of. I'm honestly surprised that Walter managed to survive that. considering that Walter is not the most durable Pokemon in the world. But I got very lucky with Paralysis Hacks there. It's too bad these Brick Breaks ain't doing much. It's also worth noting that Mega Punch doesn't have perfect accuracy. It can miss, and it, if you're using Mega Punch on your team, it'll probably miss a lot more than it does for Giovanni, because that's the way the world works. Gosh, Kangaskhan is bulky, ain't it? It's got Rage in both versions. That if you let it get out of hand, especially in Gen 1 when it can't change out of Rage once it starts to using it, if you let that get out of hand, it could be dangerous. And again, because Kangaskhan's a bit bulky, maybe that could be a problem for you. But you could also just bring in your Farfetch'd and clean up house. Is that what the kids say these days? Clean up house? Oh yeah, that'll definitely do something. Good work, Giovanni. Good work. And his last Pokemon is Rhyhorn. And I think I mentioned the last time we ran into this thing that it's absolutely pathetic and can't really do much to you. That has not changed. Gen 3, it actually has Rock Blast, so it's a Rock-type move, unlike Gen 1. If you're using a Fire or a Flying type against a Rhyhorn for some reason. I don't know. Yo, seriously, just use one of those squirter bottles, and it'll probably, immediately faint because it's quadruple weak to water. And that's Giovanni. Not his best outing. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.